Welcome back to our news channel. In today's news, Sweden plans to boost payments to up to $34,000 to immigrants who leave the nation that has been a haven for the war-weary and persecuted, the right-wing government said Thursday. But before we continue, please stay tuned and ensure you like our video, subscribe if you haven't done so. The Scandinavian country was seen as a humanitarian superpower for decades, but over the years has struggled to integrate many of its newcomers. Immigrants who voluntarily return to their countries of origin from 2026 would be eligible to receive up to 350,000 Swedish kronor, US $34,000. The government, which is propped up by the anti-immigration Sweden Democrats, told a press conference. "We are in the midst of a paradigm shift in our migration policy," Migration Minister Johan Forssell told reporters, as the government presented its latest move to crack down on migration. Currently, immigrants can receive up to 10,000 kronor per adult and 5,000 kronor per child, with a cap of 40,000 kronor per family. Immigrant groups could not immediately be reached for comment on the change. The grant has been around since 1984, but it is relatively unknown. It is small and relatively few people use it, Ludvig Aspling of the Sweden Democrats told reporters. Forssell said only one person had accepted the offer last year. Aspling added that if more people were aware of the grant and its size was increased, more would likely take the money and leave. He said the incentive would most likely appeal to the several hundred thousand migrants who were either long-term unemployed, jobless, or whose incomes were so low they needed state benefits to make ends meet. "That's the group we think would be interested," Aspling said. A government-appointed probe last month advised the government against significantly hiking the amount of the grant, saying the expected effectiveness did not justify the potential costs. The Nordic nation has struggled for years to integrate immigrants, and the head of the inquiry, Joachim Ruist, said that a sizable financial increase would send a signal that migrants were undesirable, further hampering integration efforts. Other European countries also offer grants to incentivize migrants to return home. Denmark pays more than us $15,000 per person, compared to around us $1,400 in Norway, US $2,800 in France, and US $2,000 in Germany. Sweden's Conservative Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson came to power in 2022 with a minority coalition government propped up by the Sweden Democrats, vowing to get tough on immigration and crime. The Sweden Democrats emerged as the country's second-largest party, with 20.5% support in that election. Sweden has offered generous foreign development aid since the 1970s and has taken in large numbers of migrants since the 1990s. Most of Sweden's immigrants have come from conflict-ridden countries such as the former Yugoslavia, Syria, Afghanistan, Somalia, Iran, and Iraq. In 2015 alone, at the height of the migration crisis in Europe, Sweden took in 160,000 asylum seekers, the highest per capita in the EU. With much higher rates of unemployment among those born abroad, the situation widened Sweden's wealth inequalities and strained its generous cradle-to-grave welfare system. The 2015 migration crisis proved a turning point, with the then Social Democratic government announcing soon afterwards that it was no longer able to continue its open-door policies. Both left and right-wing governments have taken a slew of measures since then to curb migration, including issuing only temporary residence permits to asylum seekers, tightening family reunification requirements, and hiking income requirements for work visas for non-EU citizens. Kristersson's government also plans to make it easier to expel migrants for substance abuse, association with criminal groups, or statements threatening Swedish values. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode of Visa News.